Hello, YouTube family. This is KM Steps back with Undiluted TV, and I want to bring you some breaking news on a story that we've already done. But this is some breaking news, and this was something that I felt like you really needed to know as soon as possible. So let's get right into it. Before we start, remember to like, remember to subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can get notifications when we upload new videos, new content. And please comment below, but remember to keep your comments respectful. Remember to agree to disagree. And let's get right on into this. This is an article coming from the Dallas News by the Dallas Morning News. It was 14 hours ago. It was updated, I believe, yesterday at 7:15 p.m. Dallas police charge woman in Deep Ellum assault for smashing suspect's window. A week after Dallas police filed a felony assault charge against a Deep Ellum bartender accused of violently beating a woman, she now faces a felony charge in this case. Lazajanique Lee, 24, is wanted on a charge of criminal mischief in last month's confrontation with bartender Austin Sheffield. Y'all remember Austin Sheffield, the white dude with all the beard that was videoed beating the black woman on the street about 2-something in the morning? Yeah. Police say Lee admitted smashing a window in his pickup after the assault. It's not the intention of the Dallas Police Department to pick one side or another, Deputy Chief Thomas Castro said in an afternoon news conference. We have to make sure that all of our citizens have been heard and that we take all of their complaints seriously. Lee has yet to be arrested in the case, Castro said. The warrant caught Dallas County District Attorney John Cruikshank by surprise, prompting a written statement from his office Tuesday evening. The district attorney had no prior knowledge that an arrest warrant was issued, the statement said. When and if charges reach the district attorney's office, we will take appropriate action. The DA's office could present the charge to a felony jury or drop the case against Lee entirely. Sheffield's initial arrest on misdemeanor charges set off days of protests, and a demonstration is planned Wednesday morning at Dallas City Hall after the felony warrant was issued for Lee. Attorney Lee Merritt, who represents the woman, expressed his outrage at the latest charge on Twitter, saying, Dallas PD just found a way to charge her with a felony. This is on his Twitter, S. Lee Merritt Esquire. A black woman alone in a dark parking lot is stalked, harassed, and assaulted by a white male. He brandishes a gun, knocks away her phone when she tries to call for help, then beats her mercilessly with blows to the head. Dallas Police Department just found a way to charge her with a felony. I'm just reading down here. Now get this. Just listen to this. Police say it took time to file the charges against Lee, that's the woman, that's the victim in this case, because investigators were waiting to determine the extent of the damage to Sheffield's pickup. This week, Austin Sheffield submitted an estimate just over $3,000. And detectives confirmed it Monday, police said. Criminal mischief is often a misdemeanor, but when the damage total exceeds $2,500, it becomes a state jail felony, Castro said. Merritt, the woman's attorney, questioned the logic of the charge against his client. Victims of savage assaults cannot logically be held responsible for damage done to their assailant's property during or immediately after their attack, he said Tuesday. Of course, context matters, and the decision to charge is a clear abuse of discretion. Okay, so what we have here is we have the young woman, LaZonique Lee, 24 years old. The young woman that we all saw the video of this of her having this confrontation with this white guy, and how he pulls a gun out of his waistband, knocks her phone out of her hand. She slaps him, and then he proceeds to punch her about 4, 5, 6 times in the head and uppercuts to the face and all of this. And then he kicks her phone out into the street. We all saw that video. We all saw it. So there's no suspected assault. There's no alleged assault. We saw it. That was even better than an eyewitness account, because an eyewitness can get things wrong. But that video is what that video is. Now, however, the Dallas Police Department has found a way to right off the bat charge her with a felony. Felony criminal mischief for busting out his windshield. And she admits to doing it. She admitted that she did it. But the point here is not whether or not she should be charged with anything. The point here is, okay, you automatically charge her with a felony. This man pulls a gun on somebody, knocks their phone out of their hand, which means he initiated the physical contact, the physical contact. Then he proceeds to beat this woman viciously. You have this whole attack, the whole 9 yards on videotape. But when you arrest him and he comes in, every charge that you leveled at him was a misdemeanor right off the bat. A misdemeanor right off the bat. It took a whole week of protests, rallies, for you to finally upgrade his charges. And yes, some of his charges have been upgraded to felonies. But it took a whole week and all of that protesting and all of that rallying. It took all of that for you to upgrade his charges to felonies. But when he was originally charged with all misdemeanors. Okay, let's go over here to another article from the Dallas News. And this article is about his charges being upgraded. His charges being upgraded from misdemeanors to felonies. And I'm waiting for it to load, so. But we're going to get into that as soon as this one loads up. We're going to talk about what all it took and why it took a whole week for the police to see the need to charge him with felonies and not misdemeanors. Because it would appear to me that just looking at the video would have been enough for you to know, okay, this man has pulled a gun. This man is viciously beating this woman. You know, there was no need for misdemeanor charges ever in the first place. But okay, it has loaded. Let's read this. Deep Ellum assault suspect Austin Sheffield back in Dallas jail on gun charge. This was 4 days ago. It was updated at 9:30 a.m. Friday, revised to reflect the suspect's arrest Friday morning. A day after Dallas police upgraded charges against the Deep Ellum assault suspect, Austin Sheffield was back in jail Friday morning on an unlicensed weapon charge. Sheffield, 30, was booked in about 8:15 a.m. He was not jailed on the newly upgraded felony assault charge because that charge must still be reviewed by a grand jury. Dallas police filed the felony charge Thursday against Sheffield, who is suspected, now see, here they go again, who is suspected of punching a woman. How is he suspected of doing it when you see him doing it on video? When you can see him doing it over and over and over and over and over again on video, how is he suspected? See, this is the language that they use when they, excuse me, when they're talking about white folks. This is the language that they use. Suspected, alleged, when we're looking at him doing it on the video. Anyway, of punching a woman repeatedly during an argument caught on video in Deep Ellum. The decision came after a police investigation and a week of protests and rallies calling on officials to upgrade the charges from the misdemeanors he was originally charged with. Sheffield now faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a second-degree felony, and unlawfully carrying a weapon, police said Thursday. Police Chief U. Renee Hall told reporters Thursday that police had a warrant out for Sheffield's arrest on the unlawful carry charge and that he might turn himself in. It is unclear whether he turned himself into the police. The aggravated assault charges was referred to a Dallas County grand jury, which would decide whether to indict Sheffield. He could not be reached for comment Thursday, and no attorney was listed for him. Sheffield, who worked as a bartender in a Deep Ellum barbershop, was initially arrested March 21st on misdemeanor charges of assault and interfering with an emergency call, as well as public intoxication. Those were the charges that he originally had, and they were all misdemeanors. Right off the bat, misdemeanors. Nothing in the original misdemeanor charges that had anything to do with the gun. Nothing that had anything to really speak to the viciousness of the attack. Nothing. All these little minor misdemeanors. The unlawful carry charge came after police determined he had a concealed handgun without a license, Hall said. Okay, what did it take for you to determine that? When you see the man on the video pulling the gun out of his waistband. The handgun is also why police want the misdemeanor assault charge upgraded to an aggravated assault charge, she said. Kim Leach, a spokeswoman for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, confirmed that the office had received investigative files in the case, but declined to comment further, citing the continuing investigation. In a viral video of the attack, the man who repeatedly punches 24-year-old Janique Lee can also be seen holding what appears to be a gun. That's a gun. Earlier this week, Lee said she's been so fearful since the attack that she's had to sleep in hotels. I'm scared. I don't know who is following me, who is behind me, who is watching me, she said Monday at a news conference with her attorney, Lee Merritt. And I've also heard that she's filing a lawsuit. I've got to do some more research to find out exactly who she's filing this lawsuit against. But it's been floating around that she's filing a lawsuit. So I'll research that and bring that information to you once I get all that information together. But yes, his charges have finally been upgraded to felonies after originally being all misdemeanors. However, this young woman who was the victim of this vicious attack is right off the bat charged with a felony because he turns in a report that just happens to exceed. He turns in an estimate that just happens to exceed the minimum for what it would take to charge her with a misdemeanor. So people, you don't see this. You don't see the unfairness of this. This man has viciously beat you, kicked your phone knocked your phone out your hand. Then after he beats you, he kicks your phone out in the streets, pulls a gun on you. But you have to be charged with a felony because you smashed a windshield? a windshield that it's going to take over $3,000 to have replaced. $3,000 that just happens to be enough to take it above the minimum so that they can make sure that you're charged with a felony. And the only reason why his charges went from misdemeanors to felonies is because you had all this protesting and all this rallying going on. And because you got this video out here that clearly shows him pulling a gun out of his waistband. Her attorney is also pushing, her attorney, Lee's attorney, is also pushing for hate crime charges. He's really pushing for hate crime charges because of the slurs that she alleges, you know, the racial slurs that she alleges that he was hurling at her during this whole attack. And as vicious as this attack is, I can see that. I can see that. I can see him saying some pretty rough things, you know, and some pretty racially derogatory things to her while he was punching her like that. There's also, I also read in one of these articles, let me get back to it. I also read in one of these articles that he actually had the nerve to say that the reason why he pulled the gun was because he feared for his life. Like so many police officers who have fired on and killed unarmed black men and children that have said, well, I was in fear for my life. So in one of these articles I read, I'm trying to find that specific spot right now. I read where he actually said that the reason why he pulled the gun was because he feared for his life. Hold on, let me find it. This is in another Dallas news article. After days of public outcry, police upgraded the assault charge to an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a felony, and added a misdemeanor charge. Here goes another misdemeanor. A misdemeanor charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon after video showed him holding a handgun during the fight. There was no fight. Police seized a knife and a .45 caliber Glock from his pickup, a gun that authorities say he was not licensed to carry. Sheffield turned himself in on the weapons charge and was quickly released from jail a second time. Ooh, the new assault charge has been referred to a grand jury which will determine whether he's indicted on the more serious charge. If an attack caught on video has come up against all of these difficulties, imagine what is experienced by those who face similar challenges without the benefit of having their attack recorded. That's a very powerful statement right there. That's a very powerful statement. If an attack that is caught on video has to come up against all of these difficulties and all of this, imagine what it must be like for the people who face similar challenges without the benefit of having their attack recorded. Especially when you're black and you're going up against somebody white. Especially when you're the black accuser and the accused is somebody white. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find. I know it's in here. I'm moving too quickly to get to it. But yeah, in one of these articles, and all of these articles that I've read, of course, will be listed in the description box. In one of these articles, he actually says that the reason why he pulled the gun was because he feared for his life. And because she told him that she was going to call for help. Wait a minute. And that she was going to call some of her friends to come down there and shoot him. But them punches that he was delivering to her, do they look like somebody that was afraid for their life? He said because she said she was going to call for help. She was going to call her friends to come down there and shoot him. Okay, well, if you in such fear of your life, then at that point, what you do is you get back in your truck and you leave before anybody gets there. You don't then proceed to knock this woman's phone out of her hand and beat her viciously on the street. But that's what all the white police officers use when they want to get off for the violence that they commit against, innocent black people and black people that are unarmed and black people that are not in the commission of a crime. That's what they want to use. I was in fear of my life. I felt like my life was in danger. And they walk away from point blank murder. Not self-defense. Not using reasonable force or whatever that's required to handle that particular situation. No, they're walking away and getting away with murder. And that's their excuse. I was in fear of my life. So this is what he's going to say, is that he was in fear for his life. That's the reason why he pulled the gun. He was in fear for his life against a woman, and the only weapon that she had while they were standing there was a cell phone in her hand. That was her only weapon, a cell phone in her hand. Which he dislodged in the matter of a couple of seconds by simply slapping it out of her hand. But we're supposed to believe that you pulled this gun on this woman that had nothing but a cell phone in her hand because you were in fear for your life. You knock her phone out of her hand because she tells you that she's calling for help. And instead of you who are so afraid just leaving the scene, you proceed to beat this woman. But my whole point is, do you see the unfairness of this? Now the victim becomes the accused. Why? Because she's black. And she has the audacity to accuse a white man. Why? Because people have rallied around her and protesters have rallied around her and have forced your hand. And have forced you to take this case seriously and charge this man somewhat the way he needs to be charged. Although he's not being charged with halfway as harshly as he should be. So you can't directly retaliate against her. So what do? You come up with a way to turn her into a criminal. You turn her into a way, you find a way to turn her into somebody that's being accused of a crime. and you automatically file felony charges against her. Why? Because she doesn't get the same consideration that that white man got. Now, if she hadn't admitted to doing it, because that part of the confrontation was not videoed, if she hadn't admitted to doing it, then you would have no evidence that she did anything. But you have evidence of what he did. What he did is videoed. But when he first walked, excuse me, when he first walked in, you slap him on the wrist with some misdemeanors, let him pay $1,000 and send him on about, let him pay $1,000, $2,000 or whatever, and send him on about his way. And get this, we know how he looked March the 21st on the video. And when there was that first mug shot, we know how he looked with all of that beard and all of that. Well, by the time he came in for his second mug shot, which was March the 29th, the beard was gone. And he was clean shaven. Yes, the beard was gone and he was clean shaven. I remember reading somebody's comment on another story that I saw on this when it first broke. And their comment was, when you see him in the next 2 or 3 days, he'll have shaved that beard. And sure enough, a week later, that beard was gone. And he's clean shaven. And he has on a Texas, it looks like some kind of Texas University hoodie or something like that. Oh, he's clean shaven. Now he's just the average white boy. He no longer looks like the white supremacist that he is. Because that's what he had to be. Because only somebody that hates black could have viciously attacked a woman like that in the street, in public, without a care in the world. And his first mugshot showed him for who he really is. But by the time he walks in the courtroom in front of a judge, you can best well believe all that, he meant for all of that to be cleaned up. And all of that has been shaved off. That's all gone. Looks like a totally different person. Doesn't even look like the same person. The Shedfield that we saw with the beard looks like somebody that would commit this kind of crime. Looks like somebody that would commit this kind of racially motivated assault. But this clean-shaven person that he has become doesn't look like he would do anything like that. Doesn't look like he would brutally beat a woman on the street like that. And for all of you who want to say and want to come on here caping for white supremacy and talking that foolishness and want to say, well, he probably would have done the same thing if she'd been white. All I need for you to do is point me to a video where you have a white man brutally beating a white woman on the street. That's all I want you to do. Before you make your foolish comment, before you say something stupid, just provide me with a link to a video of a white man brutally beating a white woman on the street. Not in the privacy of his own home, but on the street. not caring who's going to see it. A woman that's not his wife, a woman that's not his girlfriend. Because yes, we do have men and women that are abusers. We got domestic violence going on everywhere. But I want you to show me a video of a man that just had some kind of encounter with some strange woman that he doesn't know anything about in a parking lot somewhere. And he just decides that he's just going to brutalize her out there in front of any and everybody. In public. A white man and a white woman. That's the video I want you to send me. Before you start commenting and saying stupid stuff about this particular case. Because yes, it was racially motivated. I still believe he never would have went that far and done that much had she been a white woman. Had she been a non-black woman, period. If that's not the case, why did he feel like it was necessary to shave off all his beard? Why did he feel like it was necessary to change his appearance? I'll tell you why. Because like I just said, the Austin Sheffield that we first saw looked like he was well capable of doing exactly what he did. And being comfortable with it. The clean-shaven Austin Sheffield doesn't look like he was capable of anything like that. He doesn't look like he would be capable of brutalizing a woman like that. That's why he changed his appearance. Because he has to change his image in the public. And he has to change his image before he steps in a courtroom, in a court of law. If he steps in a court of law. If a grand jury will indict him. But once again, he's out to roam around and do whatever he wants to do. But I mean, just the injustice of it. I mean, to even suggest, you know, just a week and a half after this whole thing went down, after this woman was brutally beat, had to be hospitalized. I'm sure it was traumatic. She says she's still scared, and I'm sure she probably is. Now, to have to hear that you're facing felony charges, that you're facing a felony charge for damaging some property of the person who just beat you down in the street, beat you like he was beating another man. Beat you like he was beating a man that had confronted him and jumped on him and threatened him and all of that. And now you're facing a felony charge. And they had no problem automatically charging you with a felony. He gets to walk away with misdemeanors at first. And come on, people, let's be real. Do you think for 1 minute that those misdemeanors would have ever changed and ever become felony charges if it hadn't been for the protesting and the rallying that was going on? No. They would still be misdemeanor charges. And they sent all these black folks out here because this woman, Renee, I think she's the police chief. She's a black woman. And they have a picture on the internet of Austin Sheffield surrounded by these black police officers. See, they always use black folks as the face that they present to the public. So that you can say, well, how could it be unfair if the police chief is a black woman? Okay, she has to play the political game too. She has to be willing to play the game. She knows where she is. She knows what side her bread is buttered on. I keep on telling y'all, that's who they send to do their dirty work. That's who they send to speak for them. That's who they send to push their narratives and their agendas. Folks that look just like you. Because those folks are supposed to pacify you. Those folks are supposed to fool you. Those folks are supposed to have you believing, okay, well, you know, it's all right. You know, look at me. I'm black. I'm in this position. It's all right. We're working on it. There's no racism here. If there was racism here, would I be here? I'm black. Would I be here if there was racism here? That's the reason why they send you these black people. That's the reason why they put these black people in these positions. That's the reason why you had Obama as the first black, well, not the first, but as a black president in the 21st century in America. To fool you. To make you think somehow that we had arrived. And that somehow or another racism and white supremacy had went somewhere. Yeah, it went somewhere. It went around the corner and in the dark. And it took Donald Trump to remind you that it's still here. It's still alive and well. It took Donald Trump to bring it back into your face so that you could be confronted with it again. And now you're going through shock. Because you actually let these black faces fool you into believing that racism no longer existed. That racism was from the past and that we were dealing with a new generation. Oh no. So don't be fooled because you see these black faces in certain positions and in certain places. They are put there to make you think that everything is all right. They are put there to make you think that white folk like you. They are put there to make you think that white supremacy has died. But even in what the black people do, they showing you. There's a black police chief. But yet this white man was charged with all misdemeanors at first. And pretty much sent on his way. This is a black police chief. Whatever she is, she's a black. Is she the police? Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Let me get back to her and make sure that I'm giving her the right title. Let me make sure I'm giving her the right title. Let me stop now so that I don't have to make the correction later on. Let me make sure I'm giving her the right title. But whoever she is, she's up there. She's not just a foot officer. She's not just a patrol officer. You know, she's up there. But I've got to get back to the article that specifically speaks to her. But yeah, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled just because they got some black folks in some high places. They're not really running anything. They're not really making any decisions. What's that old saying? They just the spook sitting at the door. Just like Oprah. With all of her billions and as powerful as she is made to appear. Oprah doesn't have any power. Oprah doesn't really run anything. Oprah has to do what she's told to do. If she wants to continue to hold that position and walk around with all them billions. Yeah, let's get down here and see what. Yeah, Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall. Yeah, she's the police chief. Like I said. And she's a black woman. Why is she a black woman? So that when you hear this story, you know what I'm saying? You see this black woman's face and you'll think, well, how could there be racism if she's black and the victim is black? How could there be racism? Easy, because she doesn't run anything. You see what they say? They got to send it to the district attorney's office. You know, and see if the district attorney decides that they're going to put it before a grand jury before they can decide about this aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge, the real felony. So is it really a real felony when we got to go through all of that to find out if he's even going to be indicted? Or is that just a fake charge to satisfy people? Because if a grand jury refuses to indict him, that's it. The charge goes away. We got to see if a grand jury is going to decide to indict her, a victim of that kind of assault, for criminal mischief. So don't be fooled. Just because you see these black folks in black places, that don't mean that racism has all of a sudden died. White supremacy has all of a sudden lost its flavor. No. It's still as spicy and as hot as it has ever been. Who do you think made sure that the Dallas Police Department, with all of this black chief, would find a way to bring a charge against the accused? I got a little clip here I want y'all to hear. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the victim speaking out at a press conference. It's loading. Let's see what she has to say.
Not being able to eat, not being able to sleep. It's always on my mind. I'm scared. I don't know who's following me, who's behind me, who is watching me. He has pictures of my car, maybe my license plate. He's been there since it happened. I'm just scared. I'm still feeling pain. I had a concussion to my head. I had swelling in my left jaw. My ear was busted, and I had a black eye. It went away already, but my body still hurts. Everything still hurts.
Until he's rearrested, Miss Lee is not safe. And so, while we appreciate that it's a process, we want to see those new charges move forward with all deliberate speed and steps taken to ensure that he's not a danger to her or to other members of the community. There is sufficient evidence, and we know that the law enforcement officer who responded to the scene looked at the video that night. In the video, you saw the man wielding a gun. You saw the man brutally assaulting Miss Lee. The record shows that when he was placed under arrest, a gun and a knife was recovered from his vehicle. That there was alcohol in his breath. I'm not sure of his BAC level, but he was charged with public intoxication.
That's it. And that's another thing. Why haven't, why haven't we seen any reports of, what was his blood alcohol level at the time of arrest? They're talking about public intoxication and they could smell alcohol on his breath. Okay, well, what was the level? Because he wasn't too intoxicated to deliver those deliberate blows. So how intoxicated was he? But that was just a clip that I wanted you to hear, from the victim and her attorney. And of course, this clip is a part of one of the articles that will be listed in the description box. But again, the bottom line is we have a young woman who has been victimized. And she's not alleging that she was victimized. She's not just outwardly accusing somebody of victimizing her. No, we have video proof that she was victimized, that she was viciously assaulted. And now we have the police department trying to charge her with a crime. So they are victimizing her over again. And again, where's Me Too? For all you black women out there that still somehow think Me Too is about you, again, where's Me Too? Where's Gloria Allred? Where are all the so-called feminists? Where's the outrage? Where's the outcry? Except for the people in Dallas who are protesting and rallying around this young woman and plan to do another rally because they're upset about the fact that they're now trying to charge her. She's been charged with something. Where's Me Too? I thought Me Too was all about women that are being victimized. So does it just have to be sexual? Does it have to be a specific man living a specific lifestyle, working in a specific industry? Does it have to be a rich, powerful white man or a rich, powerful black man? But I didn't think it was about the man. I thought Me Too was supposed to be about the woman. I thought Me Too was supposed to be about we just believe the victims. You know what I'm saying? We don't question the victims. We don't come back and then decide we're going to charge the victim with something. So where's Me Too in this? Again, black women, understand Me Too is not for you. Yes, when it first began back in 2006, when Tarana Burke first came up with the phrase Me Too. I did a video on this as well. When she first came up with the phrase Me Too back in 2006 on her MySpace, yes, it was for black and brown women back then. And specifically aimed for women in underprivileged communities who had experienced abuse. But that was in 2006. It has now been hijacked. It has now been hijacked by the feminist movement, by the LGBTQ community. It has now been hijacked by white women. And it's no longer about black and brown women. It's certainly not about black women. Because if it was, they'd be all over this. They would be all over this. We don't have any videotape. We don't have any video whatsoever of Harvey Weinstein raping anybody, molesting anybody, sexually assaulting anybody. We don't have any video of Bill Cosby sexually assaulting, raping anybody, drugging and raping anybody. We don't have them anywhere on audio or video making that kind of confession. But Bill Cosby was literally destroyed. And now he sits in prison with no evidence whatsoever of any crime committed. Harvey Weinstein is in court. We got to do an update on him and find out what's going on with that. But here you have a white man on video pulling a gun on a black woman and viciously beating her. But there's no sign of Me Too. Just like in the case with Amber Evans that we've already talked about. We have a dead black woman that just went missing all of a sudden, and about 2 months later, they find her body floating around in the bottom of a river. Where's Me Too? Where's Me Too demanding what happened to her? Where's anybody demanding what happened to her? So black folks, again, wake up. And don't come at me again with this conspiracy theory mess. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is what it is. A black woman that was viciously attacked. The attacker, the whole attack and everything was caught on video. The white man was arrested. He was charged with all misdemeanors and sent about his way. The only reason why any felony charges ever came out of that was because of the protests and the rallies. And now because of the Dallas Police Department didn't know any other way to retaliate against this young woman, because she has a very good attorney and she's not alone in this, because the only way they could retaliate is they had to find some kind of way to charge her. They had to find some kind of way to try to sully her image in the public eye. They had to find her, they had to make her guilty of something. Because she wasn't doing anything wrong. All she did was turn down the wrong street and block somebody in. Then she moved. Then he confronted her. You see everything. So she didn't do anything wrong. So they had to find something on. They had to get something on her. And this was all they could get. So black people, don't come at me with the mess. This is America. This is what the black man has always dealt with in America. This is what the black man still deals with in America. This is what black society has to deal with in America, especially when we go up against anybody white under any circumstances. But I had to bring you this breaking news. Like I said, there is going around that she's the victim, D. LaJanique Lee, is filing a lawsuit. So I've got to dig into that, find out exactly, what that whole process is about, what that whole thing is about. And I will definitely, when I find out, I'll definitely come back and update you on that and keep you updated as far as how these charges go down against both of them, because now it appears that both set of charges are going to have to go before a grand jury. So we're going to have to see how that comes down, who the grand jury actually decides they're going to indict. Or even if the prosecution decides, the district attorney's office decides that it's even going to file any charges against her, because the district attorney's office can dismiss the charge that they're bringing against her. and since it didn't seem like anybody had any problem dismissing all of them charges against Jussie, and we know Jussie was guilty, then there's no reason why they have the discretion. So there's no reason why they can't dismiss this charge against her, considering the fact that she really was a victim. And we don't have to take her word for it. We can see it all over the internet that she was a victim. And they do have the discretion to drop those charges against her. So let's just see what they decide to do. Whether they decide to play this the fair way, or whether they decide to do this the white supremacist way. Let's see if they indict him on that more serious felony charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And what happened to the gun? Because he pulled the gun right before he knocked the foam out of her hand. Did he hit her with that gun? I've got to go back and look through the video and see if he was still holding the gun when he was delivering those punches. Because if he hit her with the gun, that would explain why why she had a concussion and why she had cranial swelling. Because in the initial reports that came out, they said that she had a concussion and she had cranial swelling. Some swelling around the brain. So that would be interesting. Let's see what happens as far as them actually bringing hate charges against him. Hate crime charges against him. So, yeah, we've got to follow this case and see how all this pans out. But I just wanted to bring you this breaking news. Just wanted to let you know what was happening here. Just wanted to let you know that she has now been charged. As the victim, she has now been charged with a felony for breaking out his windshield. Back windshield, his windshield is in whether it was the back or the front specifically is in the articles. And like I said, of course, they will be listed in the description box. But keep your eyes and ears open. Wake up. Realize this is it. And again, I'm going to put the pictures in the video and you will see how clean shaven he is now. How he has gone from looking like the racist white supremacist that he is, to now looking like this clean shaven, ordinary, average white guy that would not in a million years do something like this. And also remember, his defense is going to be the reason why he pulled the gun was because he feared for his life against a woman that he then proceeded to brutally beat. He feared for his life. Instead of leaving the scene, instead of hopping in his truck and leaving, he proceeds to knock phones out of her hand and brutally beat her, then kick her phone out in the street and all of this. But this is a man who's going to claim that he feared for his life. So let me get back on the grind. Y'all like, y'all comment, y'all subscribe. Click that bell notification and become a part of the notification thing so that you can get notified whenever we upload a video. And just stay tuned for what we're bringing because we're going to bring you the most. Have a good day.